There's like a percentage thing of being like, what's the percentage rate of like injuries for particular workouts, and like gym is one of the lowest you can possibly do as for being injuries. But playing rugby, or you're playing touch, or you're playing something like it's just a higher probability of injuries. So someone out there might be like, well, I get injured once a whole month every year, and I'll be like, holy shit, that's quite a lot. Like maybe you should rethink it. But I think it depends. For general activity, I'd say for sure. Like, if you just want to be like average, maybe a little bit more than average, or you're consistent and you just really enjoy it, then when a little injury comes, absolutely, like take the time off.
So you don't think you could become world class at something and have a mentality where
you would be the exception.
More on the side.
You would be the exception if you became world class at something. Without pushing through some of those necessary things, I would say you are more towards an exception than it would be the norm. Okay. For sure. Like, I'm only finding this from, I don't know about handstands, but I'm thinking rugby games, soccer games, CrossFit people. You ever hear any CrossFit people like compete and stuff like that, dude? All of them are injured all the time. And it's like, you just compete, doesn't matter. So, same thing with rugby. Most of them are usually quite injured. It's like, it's literally just a level of, you get fit, as they do. There's an off-season and an on-season. In the off-season, you get really fit. In the on-season, you're basically just trying to recover fast enough to continue to play. That's basically it. So you're getting yourself almost continuously injured in very small ways, and you got to keep on performing. Like, you just keep on going. You don't go, all right, I've got to take off 2 weeks for this particular thing. It's like, oh no, if you can still like run like at 90%, you're still doing it. Like, that's what you have to perform at. But I'm sure there's like exceptions to the rule out there where them taking like the time off in whatever sport or domain, maybe things like golf or something like that, where it's like a longer time frame that you have the ability to act out to become world class. So maybe that may be with handstands. I might fall in that because you do have a longer time period to play with. But maybe the shorter domains of rugby or soccer's a little bit longer, but others that are more shorter time domain where you've only got 15 to 20 years to make something happen. It's like, okay, if you're taking then that week away, it becomes so much more impactful in the small space that you have to become world class. So, like, it's hard to be world class in rugby because there's only do you call it world? Is it like the World Cup? 3 people are playing.
Yeah.
But if you've got
Australia.
if you've got like one season and you're like, oh, I need to take 3 weeks off because I've got a niggle injury, but that is what doesn't enable you to get to the next division, and then the next division you need another like pretty hardcore slug to then get to the top levels. It's like if you give that up and then you're 3 years back and et cetera, it's like, oh, you'll never make it now because you didn't have the opportunity. Like, you have to start it young enough. But maybe not for handstands, because if handstands you could literally be like the world class at 90 years old. Well, that'd be totally fine.
Yeah, no, probably not that, but
you could be much older. Like, you could be way older.
Yeah,
and be.
Yeah, I think you could probably be in your 40s or 50s and still be like a world-class handstander.
And maybe in those spaces, it just remains the time domain that you have available to it.
Okay, yeah. See, yeah, my mentality is people push too much, too hard, and it ends up costing them in the long term.
But again, remember you're saying minor injury. Like, and here's where, like, I agree. If you've got a minor injury, like you said, and then you push like for a day, and then it's like, oh, it's become a little bit worse. Absolutely, like, don't be an idiot. Take the time off. Like, and that would be like anybody in any domain. Like, you're gonna do yourself worse if you just keep pushing, even beyond that into like something worse. But if it's like, a niggling shoulder, like if you scraped your shin, right, doing a deadlift, and it's bleeding, right? Now it's like that's a minor injury.
Yep.
Now, if you're a power lifter, is the answer, oh, don't do it for 1 week until your scab heals, or is it put a pad, put tape over the top of it, and keep on going? The answer's probably going to be keep on going. Like, don't wait for it to heal. You can keep on going. That would be like a minor injury that if you choose to take away, I feel like you're being lazy at that point. Like, you can do something to get around it. But if it's proper structural damage or like a minor injury through your, I don't know, heel that is causing you to whatever, okay, then you back it up. Actually, perfect example. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, I was squatting, and the day before, my ankle, either I rolled it or something happened, but it was just a little bit sore. The next day I did squats, and I could feel my knee hurting.
Okay.
So I was like, that particular, I was like, okay, I still want to do legs. I'm going to back it all the way up in weight. I'm not going to do much weight. It'll just be quite light. It was still quite sore. So I was like, okay, that's fine. If it hurts, and like 2 days later when I'm doing another like leg sort of movement, I'll take another day off and just heal it. But by the time, it was fine. Now, maybe in this mentality of like, oh, if you get a little injury, do you like back away? I guess in my mind, I think like, oh, you do a squat and like, oh, it feels a bit niggly, and you just leave it. And I'm like, okay, no, that's too far back. I'd be like, okay, no. But then if it starts getting worse, okay, cool, yeah, pull away.
Yeah,
that'd be my mentality.
I guess it depends on the type as well. Yeah, if it's more of an aesthetic injury, like you were saying with the shin scab, no, a shin scab's not going to stop you from.
That's what I mean.